K9 Senses, aka the king of rapping, the king of hip hop, and the realest rapper on the internet, is bringing you my list for the worst and best hip hop albums of January 2020. Sorry for the fact that this was long overdue and the fact that I am super late. I was actually supposed to record this and post this on January 31st to February 1st, but I've just been through a lot of shit. College has been super fucking rough on me. It was nothing but depressing shit. I had a fuckload of projects, assignments, and exams, so I didn't really have enough time to pretty much give my thoughts and feelings and my actual opinions on these albums that had been released in January. So here we are. So while I was actually away, I created an actual fucking list, from worst to best hip-hop albums of January 2020. So without further ado, let's get started with the list, starting with the worst hip-hop album that had come out in January 2020, which is Stunner for Vegas with Rich Youngin. This album is literally an album with perfect examples of what rappers, especially mainstream rappers, should not do. Slurred in autotune, an excessive number of ad-libs from start to finish, generic ass fucking subject matter, the worst lyrics, worst beats, someone who is so incredibly off-kilter and off-beat that they don't even know where the fuck to hit the kick and the snare. Like, dead ass, if I actually fucking put in my review of Stunner for Vegas's Rich Youngin into this, it would be no different. I feel like I'd be a broken record. I feel like I'd be fucking repeating myself. But this album is fucking dog shit. Do not fucking listen to this. It has worthless features that feel so fucking out of place. It has some of the worst mundane beats that you can possibly imagine, with the slurred as all fuck 808s in the background, excessive fucking hi-hats, a fuckload of fucking muffled bass, and more importantly, these instrumentals feel like they're fucking wasted. If they were fucking placed on like some other fucking beats, then yeah, more power to them. But that being said, this album is so fucking shit, and it only gets better from here on out. Next on my list is Sada Baby with Brolic. Now, first of all, I don't want to get into too much detail, but look at that fucking album cover. Look at that fucking cover art. Tell me that's not the most grisly fucking shit you have ever seen on a hip-hop album cover art. That sounds like something straight out of Bear Grylls or some shit. Like, look at that. Like, maybe if that's what they were going for, fine, so be it. I wouldn't have my album cover arts be like that, but whatever, more power to them. But where do I even start with this trash-ass album? The flows are trash, and there are whack and basic fucking similes, and there's random fucking screaming at the top of the lungs. It's like fucking Sada Baby fucking took a page out of fucking Kanye's book from just, thinking that if, screaming at the end of each goddamn fucking song with the same fucking words or watermarks at the very beginning of literally 98% of the songs on this album, that it would fucking sell out like fucking crack. But yeah, the beats are also fucking whack, and the bass is completely muffled, just like the last time I reviewed something like this. And really, he rhymes either with neither. The instrumentals aren't the problem, like, the composition is fine, but the bass sounds atrocious. Like, the bass sounds like some Ronnie J type shit, and I don't even think that Ronnie J produced one of these beats, but goddamn, like, the last track, the beat just drags on, and they let it run for 1 minute and 23 seconds. Like, tell me that's not fucking lazy. Like, goddamn, bro. Like, I don't know what to say about this. The lyrics suck, the beats are trash, he sounds so fucking offbeat, just like Stunner for Vegas on Rich Youngin. But like I said, this only gets better from here on out, and right now we're just getting the dog shit albums out of the way, so yeah. Next on my list is Yo Gotti with Untrapped. Now this album is for complete casuals. Do not fucking listen to this album. The lyrics are trash. Yo Gotti sounds like he's so fucking offbeat, it's ridiculous. And the beats are nothing to write home about. They're just typical mainstream trap fucking production from like 2000 and goddamn 15 or 16. Like, how is this anything new? Aside from the addition to the muffled bass and the random ass guest features that add nothing at all. it just leaves you scratching your head like, what the fuck is Yo Gotti thinking? Now, this is something I did not want to review, like, not at all. I mean, for one, it was on the 31st of January, and I had other plans, as I said in the beginning of the video, but fucking seriously, like, how bad can you actually fucking make this album? Like, this is so fucking trash. Like, anyone that's affiliated with Yo Gotti, stay the fuck away from this guy, because his delivery is boring as fuck. It will make you thoroughly convinced that you took dose upon dose of fucking NyQuil. Like, that's what this album literally is. It's NyQuil the album. If you don't get past, like, if you actually get past a fucking track, let alone the entire album, without actually falling asleep, you deserve a fucking medal. Because this album is fucking garbage. Okay, now we got the shitty albums out of the way, which got at least like, a 2 to like a 4.5 out of 10. Now we're moving into the albums that are miles better than, the bottom 3 albums, which are complete garbage. Starting with Johnny Cinco with Hood Drake. Now, this is actually the first album that came out in January, let alone the beginning of 2020. And I actually don't think it's complete garbage. Yeah, there are some instances where it kind of falls flat on its face, but I really do think that Johnny Cinco has a bit of potential for a melodic style rapper. Is he just as good, if not better, than the people who made albums this year that I'm gonna mention in this list? Fuck no, but at least it's a far cry from what all these other fake ass rappers and these casuals are doing now. Like, I'll actually give Johnny Cinco some props. Like, this album isn't good by any means, but this is actually the first album where I'll actually give him a chance to improve. Like, I'm basically giving this dude a second chance. From the king of rapping and the king of hip hop and the leader of the real hip hop movement, I'm actually going to give this dude a chance. I will spare him. So yeah, Johnny Cinco, Hood Drake. Mediocre, but not as bad. Moving on. Next on my list is Moneybagg Yo with Time Served. Now, at first I thought this was an album for complete casuals that had a fucking Megan Thee Stallion feature, which I thought was always trash. Like, I do like her flow, it's just her lyrics and delivery are fucking trash. She's literally like a poor man's gangsta boo in a fucking like fake ass, literal like artificial looking body having ass woman. But that's a whole different topic for another time. I want to talk about Time Served. In terms of like execution, this album is okay at best, but at the same time, it's not over the top horrible. Just like Johnny Cinco with Hood Drake, Moneybagg Yo kinda has potential. I can sort of see him as like this kind of hype man that can actually fucking pump up the crowd and actually fucking cause some turnip hype. That being said, the lyrics aren't really anything to write home about, and some of these beats are kind of one-dimensional at best, but they're not as horrible as the aforementioned, 4 albums that I talked about before this. So yeah, I'm giving Moneybagg Yo. I mean, the only thing I can really critique about you at this point is your lyrics, they need work, and the name. Change your name. Why do you got 2 G's in bag, yo? Like, just stop it, bro. Keep chasing that green, though. Keep grinding. Next on my list is Filthy Rich with Hometown Hero. This is another decent album, and I was kind of skeptical because of the name. I'll always judge a book by its cover because you don't know with these kind of like underground to even mainstream rappers. He's more underground than mainstream, but just all the rappers with Rich in their name, like Rich the Kid, Roddy Rich, Rich Homie Quan, and now Filthy Rich. I just wish this would stop, but Hometown Hero as an album is not really that bad. It has some typical fucking club trap songs which we've heard a million fucking times. It's like twerking type lyrics, flexing type lyrics. I literally fucked someone's bitch for the irony for no reason type of lyrics. But that being said, the saving grace for this album is the production. Without the production, this would probably get a drastically lower fucking rating and would be placed lower on the list. But the production is kind of clean, despite a couple tracks. Like, that muffled bass still plagues a few fucking songs, but at the same time, it's not that bad. I would actually fucking listen to a few songs on here that I would legitimately come back to. Next up is Key Glock with The Yellow Tape. Just like Filthy Rich with Hometown Hero, I really don't have a lot to say. The album is pretty much typical in terms of like trying to be like mainstream, but that being said, some of the fucking tracks are absolute fucking top notch, like the second track and the very last track. I really would love to come back to those. And sorry if I'm not referring to like any like song titles. I haven't listened to this album in a fucking while. I've only listened to this like once or twice, but that being said, it's not bad. Not bad at all. Yeah, don't really have a lot to say. Check out this album if you haven't, and let me know what your thoughts and feelings are. Next album on my list is Uncle Murda with Don't Come Outside Volume 2. Now, that's funny. The guy who has mocked mumble rap and, so-called mumble rapper, quote, in air quotes. I'm literally making air quotes right now, but you can't fucking see it, but whatever. Cut into the chase. The album is actually almost good. It's like breaking the mold between decent, like halfway decent, and good. This album almost makes it to the top 15, but at the same time, there are just way better albums. That's why I placed this in like the number 16 spot. But yeah, there are a lot of fucking features that I would really revisit because their verses are just super hot fire in terms of their lyrics. I really did like Benny the Butcher's contribution. I thought the beats were pretty fire. It's just, there wasn't really that much authenticity compared to like the other albums that I'm going to talk about. That's why this is kind of low on the list. But that being said, not bad at all. I would highly recommend this album. Next up on my list is Mura Masa with R.Y.C. Now, this album actually caught me off guard. It's like a UK pop rap, and they kind of incorporate, some rock elements, and it's really fucking dope, not gonna lie. Some of these songs give you like this wavy, kind of laid back and chill, kind of punk pop, like, I almost said punk. Did I say punk pop? I meant pop punk. Whatever. What's the difference? But anyway, yeah. This album conceptually isn't really anything to write home about, but lyrically and sonically, these are fucking dope ass fucking songs that I would come back to on this album. Like, these are the type of songs that I wouldn't really play in the whip, but these are something that I could really sleep to, and that's not even an insult. Like, it doesn't make me fall asleep. They're just so fucking peaceful to listen to. It's a really nice blend of different genres across the board, and that's why I fuck with it. Next on my list is Lil Wayne with Funeral. Now, a lot of questions about this album, not because of its rating. I think that in terms of like, its creativity, production, and, Lil Wayne's flow and lyricism and his deliveries, whether he, accentuates an autotune, I think it's actually not bad at all. Accentuate is not a word. What the fuck am I talking about? I don't even know. How he executes with autotune is actually pretty nice on this album in a few segments, but this kind of raises a few questions whether this will be Lil Wayne's last full-length project before he retires, hence the name Funeral. What's interesting is that if you take the album cover and flip it, it spells Lil Wayne. I thought that was clever as fuck. But let's get to the actual music itself. It starts with the title track, and that was so fucking dope, like lyrically, sonically, and conceptually. Honestly, pretty fucking dope. And then you have Mahogany, which is actually a fucking another banger track. Some of the features feel kind of out of place, like the late XXXTentacion, R.I.P. And for some reason, J-Rock and Lil Wayne do not blend in well together. Same with the Lil Twist feature. And some of the beats are questionable, but that being said, this album is good. This album kind of gets a lot of hate because of how fucking long it is. And it's good? The entire album was 24 tracks full of songs, no interludes, no skits, no nada. And it felt like a kind of short project. Usually with an album with that, abundant number of tracks makes you feel like, oh my god, I'm in for the long haul. But no, this album was actually pretty good. Worth my time, if you say that. Next on my list is Rome Fortune with FREEk, or FREEk. Now, it's weird because with an album like this, conceptually and sonically and even lyrically, this kind of gives me, some My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy vibes from Kanye, and honestly, I can safely say this sounds like an even better version of My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, and My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy is overrated as fuck. It's like an 8 out of 10 album, but it's still fucking overrated. It's not a masterpiece like everyone claims it to be, but again, that's a different topic for another time. But this album especially, there were some moments that made me feel a little bit uncomfortable, but I feel like that was Rome Fortune's purpose for the listener. And with that being said, there are some tracks that I kind of skip, and then there are also a lot of fucking songs that remind me of old school Tyler the Creator, especially on like from Bastard and Goblin type Tyler the Creator vibes from this. But yeah, I really do fuck with this album yet again. Only gets better from here. Next album on my list is Young Pinch with Back to the Beach. Now, this album is actually pretty fucking fire. It's not like top 10 of January, but it's still pretty damn good. Like, all of the tracks sound cohesive, they sound great, the production is nice. I love how Young Pinch kind of incorporates like acoustics and rock elements to the kind of heavy and mellow trap production. I really did like Sober, that was really fucking dope. And lyrically, it actually sounds, it's not super lyrical or impressive like some of the other guys that we're going to talk about in this video with albums that are higher up this list, they're in the top 10. But that being said, this album I really do fuck with. It's nothing like the mainstream shit. If mainstream hip-hop was like this, I would not make a channel and complain about every single fucking thing wrong with the mainstream. Like, this is actually fucking dope and creative. But yeah, that's all I gotta say. Moving on. Next on my list is kind of a surprise that honestly I did not think I would place high up on this list, but we have Russ with Shake the Snow Globe. Yeah, you heard me right. Russ, the Caucasian rapper and the ass end of jokes, is in the number 11th spot and barely reaches the top 10 hip-hop albums that have been released in January 2020. This list is official. I will not have any fucking changes. But yeah, Russ, Shake the Snow Globe. I was honestly fucking surprised. Like, actually, like, this album, like, sonically is, good. Like, lyrically, it actually showcases Russ's incredible display of rhyming, which everyone, ignores and brushes off as being super corny, but I fuck with it. Like, real lyricists fuck with that shit. Real lyricists such as myself on higher levels of thinking such as myself with great taste in music such as myself always fuck with that. And last but not least, like, everything seems to blend in with each other. That's why I gave this kind of a lower score and barely reaches the top 10. But that being said, in terms of quality and the track length, pretty fucking dope. Well done. Alright, so now we're going into the top 10. Starting with number 10 with the God Fahim with Lost Kings. This album is actually really fucking good. I mean, well, not actually, it is fucking good. The album actually fucking has a lot of fucking meaning. It has a lot of dope lyrics, dope punchlines, dope wordplay. The beats are really good, and that boom bap shit, which is always, superior to everything known to man. Keep it old school. But yeah, I really do fuck with it. There really isn't a lot to say. The track list is fire. The track length, like the average track length is at least 3 minutes, which is really fucking dope. I like how introspective they get. But yeah, number 10. The God Fahim, Lost Kings. Moving on. Next on my list is Quando Rondo with QPac. Now, this is another album that I was expecting to shit on and tear it limb from fucking limb. Tear this shit apart. tear the new asshole. But this album, just like a lot of albums on this list, surprised me to shit because it has an insane amount of quality, and for a melodic rapper, Quando Rondo should get a fucking trophy because this guy is like a quintessential example of of what mainstream hip-hop should be. Well, at least not all of it. At least, what melodic rap should be without mumble rapping fucking lyrics and slurring their goddamn words 90% of the fucking time, which is literally what mumble rap is to me. But yeah, this album is really fucking dope. A lot of interesting topics, a lot of interesting beat selection choices, a lot of that shit comes into play in this album. Yeah, as time goes on, the beats kind of do sound the same and the songs kind of blend in each other and they kind of sound repetitive as hell, but that's like the only fucking gripe that I can give with this album. Honestly, this is one of the few albums that I would come back to in this list. Next on the list is, oh god, I hope I'm pronouncing this name right. Next on my list we have Theophilus London with Bebey. Now, holy fuck, this album is a really good hybrid of melodic style rapping and just straight lyricism, straight lyrical type rapping. Like, this dude is like the perfect hybrid and with absolute versatility. Like, holy fuck, I was even surprised that that he added a fucking Raekwon feature, even though that's one of my least favorite songs. But that being said, that album is still, that song with Raekwon is still pretty fucking good. Like, any song with a member of the Wu-Tang Clan will fucking score you some fucking extra points in my book. No questions asked. Specifically from the king of rapping. But anyway, Theophilus London actually picked some really good beat selection. I love how he implemented some synths. I love how he implemented a lot of hard-hitting 808s and kind of boom baps to some kind of like melancholic sound to his beats in his songs. But yeah, I really do fuck with it. Also, I was kind of scared shitless that he added a Lil Yachty feature, but thankfully he doesn't, do his thing. He just harmonizes and it doesn't sound terrible. It actually sounds decent. And that was just an interlude. It wasn't really anything. So that didn't really carry down the entire fucking score of the album. This album is at least a 9 out of 10. And just so you know, from these next 7 albums, actually the next 7 albums and this album alone make that 8 albums. Simple math, I know. Yeah, these top 8 albums scored at least a 9 out of 10 for me. So yeah, just a little heads up. So why don't we go to number 7. And on this list we have 070 Shake with Modus, Vivendi. It took me a while to say that, I know. God, these fucking names. But yeah, getting back to this, 070 Shake is a really good melodic style artist. He really puts in his work. He has some really dope ass, beat choices. His producers are fucking insane. The synths kind of have this kind of like sci-fi feel, and these melodic kind of like melancholic fucking goddamn like melodies on like some pianos and synths make it sound so goddamn laid back that it gives me a fucking vibe. And I'm not one of those casuals and fake fans who are gonna be like, oh, come on man, it's a vibe. No, fuck that. I'm not looking for a vibe. I'm looking for actual lyricism. And the lyrics here are so fucking relatable. So yeah, 070 Shake, Modus Vivendi is really fucking dope. I fuck with the shit. Next on my list is the Leonard Simpson duo with LSD, the abbreviated and acronym of the Leonard Simpson group. Really good. And honestly, throughout this album, it's very lyrical, very boom bap sound. It kind of gives me this, believe it or not, these guys give me like Run the Jewels vibes with their perfect chemistry and rapping technicality. I really do fuck with it. Their deliveries match up with their goddamn beats and shit. I really do fuck with the lyrics. They sound so fucking elite. And this is number 6. We're emerging in the top 5 right now, and these 5 albums are the ones that I recommend the most, and one of them I'm going to make a video about that, so spoiler alert. Anyway, let's get right into the top 5. So we are just getting into the 5th best hip hop album of January 2020, and that is Mac Miller with Circles. It is the posthumous album from Mac Miller, again, rest in peace. And this is the epitome of a perfect swan song to an already phenomenal career of a guy who made such an impact in the hip-hop culture, especially given the fact that he's a white rapper who came from the underground with Kids, the mixtape, and with Blue Slide Park, which was his debut studio album in 2011. Sorry if I'm sounding emotional. It's just Mac Miller had a special place in my heart, especially from like the development of his music. He sounded kind of corny, and the good kind of corny, not the Hobson type of corny where at his worst he sounds like dog shit, but here it sounds charismatic as hell. And especially with Good Morning and Divine Feminine, it really fucking shows you that Mac Miller has a lot to offer. Those are my favorite albums, and Circles is no different. This is a really fucking dope ass album, and I'm sorry that I'm like over exaggerating. I'm not a huge Mac Miller fan, but I do appreciate his music and what he's done to hip hop, especially for white rappers. And it sucks that he overdosed like almost 2 years ago. Like, rest in peace, dude. You will not be forgotten. Next on my list is Co2 The Friend with Lyrics to Go Volume 1. Now, it is an actual full-length studio album. You'd think it's an EP, but it has 11 songs, and all of them, even though they have an average track length of 1 minute and 30 seconds or almost 2 minutes, somewhere around there, they feel super enjoyable to listen to. Like, they have like these lo-fi type beats, if you can call it them, with some lyricism, and this is something that I can honestly fucking listen to, alone, just working on my homework, trying to relieve stress. Like, fuck vaping and smoking a joint. Just fucking listen to this entire album and you will feel good about yourself. You can have a shitty day, have this entire album on repeat, and it doesn't get boring. Like, this is high up on my list for a reason. I fuck with this album. I really do fucking love it. Like, the first track actually fucking talks about, the hip-hop scene and all that shit. And from here on out, it's just an easy breeze to listen to. Like, it really does sound great. I highly recommend this album. Next on my list is Ari Da Kid with It Was Unwritten, which is a play on words to Nas's It Was Written album that was released in 1996. But here, it's really fucking good. Like, conceptually, lyrically, and sonically, they're all fucking good. The beats all fucking slap. The lyrics are so fucking dope that how could you not fucking come back to it? The features even feel welcome here, like T.I. and Big Crit. All of them sound fucking good. Ari Da Kid has a lot to offer in this album, and you can tell, like, his storytelling is almost like GOAT status level, and lyrically, he is one of the best I have ever heard in the month of January. From his elite rhyme schemes to the way he flows, the way he delivers, the way he rides every beat with perfection, makes you wonder, why isn't anyone else like this? I mean, aside from like people who are mainstream, who are lucky enough, but people in the underground like Ari Da Kid really need to fucking get recognized and shine to the limelight, because honestly, compared to other rappers, Ari Da Kid is like a diamond in the rough and must be, admired. Next up on my list, which is a very close second to the number one spot on my list, is No and Madlib with The Professionals. This album is really fucking dope. Madlib has some really fucking amazing beats that really complement Oh No's style. He's like this. He's a really, really fucking lyrical rapper that can really spit from hours on end from the elite rhyme schemes, the wordplay, and just his flow is really fucking good. This is not as good as his collab album with Freddie Gibbs, two of them, sorry, Pinata and Bandana, which is, the best hip-hop album of 2019. But yeah, this album is a lot like, Madlib's production. It's really fucking dope, standard boom bap type shit, and it really fucking works. All of the songs are memorable in my opinion, and Oh No and Madlib live up to the actual title called The Professionals, which really are fucking great. Like, Madlib exceeds in his craft of making beats, and Oh No exceeds in his craft of rapping, but unfortunately, it was not enough to make the #1 spot, and the #1 spot, especially with all the albums that I've listed so far, shouldn't really surprise any of you. And finally, we get to the best hip-hop album of January 2020, which shouldn't surprise any of you, is Eminem with Music to Be Murdered By. Now, this album is very fucking good. So, one of the best hip-hop albums that have come out so far, and on top of that, Eminem's greatest project, in my opinion, since the Marshall Mathers LP2, which was released in 2013. This album is a lyrical goldmine of multisyllabic rhymes, both internally and his end rhymes. His wordplay is very fucking dope, apart from 2 questionable lines, but that being said, I can get over them on the dime. And really, his concepts of his songs are really a lot to write home about, like the track Darkness, which is a really good double entendre between the Las Vegas shooter and Eminem's career as a whole. And really, a lot of fucking emotional tracks like Leaving Heaven. And on top of that, the beats all feel fucking amazing, and the features feel like even the late Juice WRLD, R.I.P. I feel like that's a trend for this fucking video. Literally, rest in peace to every one that I have, talked about that has died. But literally, like everyone from the lyrical miracle spiritual motherfuckers to the melodic style rappers like Don Toliver on No Regrets and Juice WRLD on the infamous Godzilla. On top of that, Eminem breaks a fucking record for speed rapping, at least for him, because Godzilla has his fastest verse of all time, hands down. And honestly, this is an album that fake fans and casuals and a bunch of fucking biased ass music critics who have this disillusion in their head that the only time Eminem was good was everything before 2004, because let's face it, a lot of people are so close-minded with new M that they think, man, he's too old for this shit, he should go back to the Slim Shady LP style. But then he goes back to the Slim Shady LP style and people are like, no, he's too old for that shit. It's like, you motherfuckers can never fucking learn. But that's a different topic for, another video, because guess what? I will have a video for this album explaining why it's the best album of January, but this is just a teaser. This is just a tease for all of you fucking, incels, for all you simps, for all you casuals who just won't like Eminem for what he is. That's why I gotta educate the masses of dumbasses that will, listen to what the fuck I say. So that was my list of the worst to best hip-hop albums of January 2020, and so far, overall, as a whole, hip-hop for January is pretty decent. It's actually a decent start for 2020. Yeah, a lot of fucking shit albums, actually no, a few shit albums, and also a lot of really good hip-hop albums that have come out this month that actually fucking outweigh the negatives by a substantial margin. But yeah, that's gonna be a list. There will be new videos to come, I promise. I'll do some more album reviews and what I think about the current state of hip-hop. But yeah, this has been the end of the video. This is K9 Senses. Rest in peace out.